When did I catch the theatre bug? Well, for that I have Andrew Lloyd Webber to thank. My parents were not hugely artistic people. My father actually not at all, although he was a great reader and writer. He was an officer in the US Army, so we moved around a lot growing up. And we were theatregoers in the sense that if an Andrew Lloyd Webber musical came to town, we would go. We would get dressed up and have a big family evening out to the Andrew Lloyd Webber musical. So I have great memories of seeing Cats, I think, in DC, seeing David Cassidy and Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat in New York, which was fantastic. And perhaps my most vivid memory when I was in high school was in Los Angeles. My father had to go on a trip to LA, and so my mother and my sister and I went out to visit him on vacation. And to treat us, he decided he was going to get tickets to the Phantom of the Opera, which was then playing at the Shubert Theatre in Los Angeles with Michael Crawford and some of his last dates in the role of the Phantom, which of course he originated. Unfortunately, the run had been sold out for some time, and so my father resorted to buying these 4 tickets for the family from an agency, a very expensive ticket tout. I don't know exactly how much he paid, but I think it was probably 3 or 4 times the face value of the tickets. On the day, the evening that we were meant to see Michael Crawford as the Phantom, my mom and my sister and I were playing tourist. We'd been to Venice Beach, I think, in the morning, and seen the Muscle Men on Venice Beach. We'd gone for lunch, and then we were going to go shopping on Rodeo Drive. At lunch, sadly, my mother ate something that disagreed with her. Then we got stuck in traffic, LA's notorious traffic. Air conditioning in the car wasn't working, and she started feeling really unwell. By the time we got a parking space on Rodeo Drive and got out to walk around, rather than looking at the lovely boutiques and brand shops, we were looking for a drugstore in order to get something from my mother to settle her stomach. Not a lot of those on Rodeo Drive, or there weren't at that time, back in the 80s. So my mom ended up vomiting in a little potted plant outside of the Gucci store, which was not a very popular thing to do. We quickly got back in the car, went back to the hotel so my mom could recover. By the time my father returned to the hotel, mom really was in no state to even contemplate going to the theater. So it looked like the whole thing was off because my mom being there was very important to my father. Finally, she persuaded him that he should take us to the theater anyways. But so we raced to get to the theater in time, abandoning the fancy dinner pre-theater plans. We ended up going to a drive-through at Jack in the Box, and my father got egg roll grease all down his tie. We did get to the theater in time, though, and my dad thought that maybe he could at least recoup some of his losses by reselling my mother's ticket. There's a massive queue for returns, and he did resell the ticket, and unfortunately he couldn't sell it for what he bought it for. He could only sell it for the face value, which he wasn't very happy about, but it did make some other guy very happy as he got a chance to see Michael Crawford as the Phantom, even though he had to sit next to my father glowering throughout the evening. Even still, with all of that, the Phantom of the Opera, I absolutely fell in love with it. I bought the cast recording. I played it, it was a cassette. I played it to death on my Sony Walkman to the point that it actually fell apart. And many years later, when I moved to London and got to see the original production at Her Majesty's Theatre, it was a great thrill for me. An even greater thrill later still to be able to meet and work with Andrew Lloyd Webber. So, thank you, Andrew. Thank you for helping me catch the theatre bug.